Good evening, everyone. It's time again for our Sangha Annual Vasa Retreat, Sutra Recitation, Puja, and tonight will be the English version. Okay, so the theme for this month is Bliss, Wisdom, Repentance. And since this is the last Saturday of July, so this will also be the last puja on this theme for this month. Next week we will have a new puja. Okay, so since this is the last run of this puja, so let us be even more focused so as not to waste this next 45 minutes. Okay, so in this puja, we will be doing practices that will increase our merits and wisdom and clear away our negative karma by prostrating to the 35 Buddhas. This puja is a series of recitations on every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And through this series of prayers and recitations, we want to pray for our country, the people, for you and your family, and for the world to quickly recover from the challenges that we are all facing and be able to find peace and happiness. Okay, so please remember to join us every Saturday till the end of August. Okay, and then for the details of the other pujas, the Chinese pujas, please refer to our website. Why do we need bliss, wisdom, and repentance? In order to live a blissful life, we need our living conditions to be favorable to us. This can be achieved through accumulating merits. But just having merits alone is not enough. We also need to have wisdom in order to make correct decisions in life. This will then continue to bring us happiness, not only now, but also in the future, and also to avoid bringing suffering to others. Merits and wisdom are also known as the two collections, because we need both in order to live a happy life. And also to advance in our spiritual path, we also need these two collections. And then we will also need to clear away the seeds of suffering and obstacles in our mind stream. So we do that by doing repentance. If we can do that, then all these seeds of suffering and obstacles will not take effect and obstruct us in the things that we want to achieve. So tonight, we will do the spiritual practices that will enable us to accumulate merits, wisdom, and repent away the seeds of future suffering. Let us look at the ritual. We will start by taking refuge in the three jewels, followed by generating the spirit of enlightenment. After that, we will make offerings to accumulate merits by doing the Mandala Offering. If you have prepared the offering items, you can also bring them out now. Okay, and then after that, we will then do repentance using the 35 Buddha repentance ritual, and then we will recite the Manjushri mantra to seek blessings from Manjushri Bodhisattva, who represents the perfect wisdom of the Buddha. And then finally, we will dedicate our merits. Tonight, as usual, we will have our Ven talk at 9 p.m. And tonight I will be sharing with everyone who's in Buddhism. We will begin by taking sincere refuge in the three jewels, meaning that we will seek guidance from the three jewels in whatever things we do, and seek protection from them in whatever difficulties we are facing. Why are the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, worthy to be our refuge? The Buddha is a worthy refuge because he has already achieved the two collections. He has already perfected the two collections of merits and wisdom, meaning that he has already solved all his problems and he has the solutions to all our problems. With his perfect compassion, he will help everyone equally, including you and me. whether we have been his enemy or his friend in the past, as long as we sincerely listen to him and put his teachings into practice, he will help us equally. When we take sincere refuge in the Buddha, it also means that we want to follow and put into practice his teachings, the Dharma, to live our lives. And when we practice the Buddha's teachings, there's also that community of monks and nuns and our fellow practitioners that will accompany us, encourage us, and support us. So, the three jewels are our true refuge and best refuge. Okay, so before we take refuge, okay, let's do visualization. Okay, so please visualize the Buddha in front of you. He's very happy to see all of us here today. Even though we are all online, okay, he will be even happier, okay, that we can persist in our spiritual practices despite not being able to come to the monastery. So visualize the Buddha looking at us very compassionately, very happily, and he radiates light to bless all of us. Okay, you can also visualize your blessed one, your loved ones, or anyone that you think is having obstacles or problems together with us in this puja. Okay, and the Buddha radiating white light to bless all of us. Okay, so the recitation will be about 3 minutes long. Please focus your mind. If you find any distracting thoughts coming in, once you are aware of them, just let them go and then focus back on the singing, the recitation. Okay, so let's begin. next, we are going to generate a period of enlightenment, meaning that we want to make the aspiration that it's not just ourselves that we want to solve our problems, find happiness for ourselves, but we also want to be able to help our loved ones and even all living beings to do so. Even though now we may not have an uncontrived desire to do that, but as we practice along the spiritual path, as our compassion increase, as our wisdom increase, one day we will find that it's not enough just to think about our own welfare. We will also want to help our parents, we want to help our loved ones, and we want to help all living beings also find happiness and avoid suffering. And the best way, the ultimate way to do that is really to become as wise and as compassionate as a Buddha. So now as we take refuge once again, okay, we make this aspiration that we want to achieve Buddhahood in order to help all living beings. Okay, so let's begin. In Buddha Dharma Sangha, till enlightened I take refuge. Merit from six perfections, achieve Buddhahood to help all. In Buddha Dharma Sangha, till enlightened I take refuge. Merit from six perfections, achieve Buddhahood to help all. In Buddha Dharma Sangha, till enlightened I take refuge. Merit from six perfections, achieve Buddhahood to help all. Next, we are going to make offerings to the three jewels. When making offerings, the attitude that we want to generate in our mind stream is gratitude. Okay, so now you can think about the kindness that other people have shown to you, starting from your parents, father, your mother, not because of them. Of course, taught us a good education, then you will not be able to live a comfortable life. You will not have the skills to earn a living. Okay, so you can think about their kindness, what they have done for you. Okay, and then generate gratitude in your heart. Okay, and then you can also think about your family members, how they have provided you support, how because of them you have a comfortable home to go to return to every day after a hard day's work. Okay, you can think about all the people, your colleagues, all the people around you, all your colleagues, your friends. Okay, even those people that you meet every day, like the hawkers at the hawker center, the people at the supermarket, and then all the bus drivers, taxi drivers, all the people that are working so hard every day to keep Singapore going so that we can go about our life smoothly and comfortably. Okay, so generate sincere gratitude towards all these people. Next, think about the three jewels, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Because of their guidance in the past, in our past lives, we know how to be a virtuous person. So it's because of their kindness that now we are able to be born and living in a comfortable, prosperous, peaceful country like Singapore. So we also want to make this very strong aspiration, commitment to them, that we will continue to learn the Buddha's teachings and be a virtuous person. Okay, so we will do mandala offering. The mandala represents the best things in the universe. So as we sing the mandala offering, okay, you can also in your mind visualize all the good things that in the universe to offer to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, so if you have already prepared the offering item, you can hold it up now. Otherwise, you can also look at the beautiful pictures later in the PPT and visualize offering the best things in the universe to the Buddha. Now, visualize the Buddha looking at us very compassionately. They accept our offerings very happily and radiate light to bless all of us. Let's begin.
Reverently I offer this Buddha land. May all beings enjoy this pure land with me. Om Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamniyataya Me. Om Ahom, Om Ahom, Om Ahom, Om Ahom, Om Ahom. We'll fill with fragrance and flowers, along with Mount Meru, forest sun and moon. Reverently I offer this Buddha land. May all beings enjoy this pure land with me. Om Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamniyataya Me. Om Ahom, Om Ahom, Om Ahom, Om Ahom, Om Ahom. We'll fill with fragrance and flowers, along with Mount Meru, fallen sun and moon. Reverently I offer this Buddha land. May all beings enjoy this pure land with me. Om Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kamniyataya Me.
Next, we are going to do the 35 Buddha repentance. When doing repentance, it's important to have a sincere regret of the wrongdoings that we have done in the past and make a strong commitment to the Buddhas not to repeat them again. We'll be making prostrations to the 35 Buddhas. If it's not convenient for you to do prostration at home, you can also do a half bow. As we make the prostrations, generate a strong sense of gratitude for their perfect compassion and a strong sense of respect by recalling their good qualities. Please also recite the names of the Buddhas together with us, as reciting their names can also clear away many yawns of negative karma. Let's get ready. Okay, now you can first think of any actions that you should not have done, whether is it in the past week, the past month, the past year, this life, or even past in your past life. Especially those unwholesome actions that we have done towards our parents, towards the three jewels, our teachers. We repent sincerely in front of the Buddhas and vow not to repeat them again. Please visualize the 35 Buddhas in front of us, and they look at us very compassionately and radiate white light to bless us and clear away all our negative karma and afflictions. Let's begin. Om Namo Manjushri Namo Susri Namo Uttama Sriye Soha. Om Namo Manjushri Namo Susri Namo Uttama Sriye Soha. Om Namo Manjushri Namo Susri Namo Uttama Sriye Soha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, thoroughly destroying with Vajra essence Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, radiant jewel Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, King Lord of the Naga Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, army of heroes Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, delighted hero Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, jewel fire Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, jewel moonlight Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, one with vision and purpose Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, jewel moon Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, the stainless one Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, bestower of courage Buddha. Namo Bhagavan Tathagata Arahat, perfectly enlightened, the pure one Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, one who gives out of purity Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, deity of the water god Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, water god Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious goodness Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious sandalwood Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, infinite splendor Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious light Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, sorrowless glory Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, son of non-craving Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious flower Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, pure light rays clearly knowing by play Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, lotus light rays clearly knowing by play Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious wealth Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious mindfulness Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious name widely renowned Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, king holding the victory banner of foremost power Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious one totally subduing Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, utterly victorious in battle Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious transcendence through subduing Buddha.
Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, glorious manifestations illuminating all Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, all subduing jewel lotus Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, King Lord of the mountains, firmly seated on jewel and lotus Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, embodiment of all Buddhas of the Dharma realm, Amitabha Buddha. Namo Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arahat, perfectly enlightened, all these Buddhas and others, as many as they are existing, sustaining, and residing in all the world systems of the 10 directions, all Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and in all the states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara throughout beginningless lives, whatever negative actions I've created, made others create, or rejoice in the creation of, whatever possessions of stupas, possessions of the Sangha, or possessions of the Sangha of the 10 directions that I have appropriated, made others appropriate, or rejoice in the appropriation of, whichever among the 5 actions of immediate retribution I have done, caused to be done, or rejoice in the doing of, whichever paths of the 10 non-virtuous actions I've engaged in, cause others to engage in, or rejoice in the engaging in, whatever I have created, being obscured by these karmas, causes me and sentient beings to be born in the hell realms, in the animal realm, and in the preta realm, in irreligious countries, as barbarians, or as long-lived gods, with imperfect faculties, holding wrong views, or not being pleased with Buddha's descent, in the presence of the Buddha Bhagavans, who are transcendental wisdom, who are eyes, who are witnesses, who are valid, and who see with omniscience consciousness, I am admitting and confessing all these negativities. I will not conceal them nor hide them, and from now on, in the future, I will abstain and refrain from committing them again. All Buddha Bhagavans, please pay attention to me. In this life and in all other states of rebirth in which I have circled in samsara throughout beginningless lives, whatever roots of virtue I have created by generosity, even as little as giving just one mouthful of food to a being born in the animal realm, whatever roots of virtue I have created by guarding morality, whatever roots of virtue I've created by following pure conduct, whatever roots of virtue I've created by fully ripening sentient beings, whatever roots of virtue I've created by generating bodhicitta, and whatever roots of virtue I've created by my unsurpassed transcendental wisdom, all these assembled and gathered, combined together, I fully dedicate to the unsurpassed, highest, perfectly complete enlightenment. Just as the previous Buddhas have fully dedicated, just as the future Buddhas will fully dedicate, and just as the present Buddhas are fully dedicating, like that I too fully dedicate. I confess all negativities individually. I rejoice in all the merits. I urge and implore all Buddhas to grant my request. May I receive the highest, most sublime, transcendental wisdom. To the Buddhas who are living in the present time, those who have lived in the past, and those who will likewise come. To all those who have qualities as vast as an infinite ocean, with hands folded, I approach for refuge.
Okay, next we are going to seek wisdom from Manjushri Bodhisattva, who represents the perfect wisdom of the Buddhas. Okay, so now visualize Manjushri Bodhisattva in front of you. He's looking at us compassionately, happily, and he radiates golden light to bless all of us. Okay, so let's recite, sing his mantras sincerely, and seek his guidance so that whatever decisions that we make in life, we can bring happiness not only to ourselves but also to all the people around us. And we can avoid bringing suffering to ourselves and to the people around us. Let's begin. Let us now dedicate the merits that we have accumulated through supplicating and praying to the three jewels with strong aspiration for the peace and happiness of everyone around the world. dedicate our collection of vast merits from the Sangha Annual Vasa Retreat Sutra Recitation Puja as follows. May our country be prosperous and peaceful. May the COVID-19 outbreak subside swiftly. May all sentient beings be well and happy, swiftly develop their wisdom and compassion, and advance in their spiritual practice. May all businesses restore, and may the economy flourish. May all who have lost their lives, including plague deities, suffering ghosts and spirits, our personal karmic creditors and debtors, let go of their resentment, find peace in their hearts, and be reborn in pure land and attain enlightenment. Okay, so now we will do the special dedication. Okay, for those seeking blessings and those facing obstacles. 马艳芳、林发财、王新平、王丽君、王振东、梁秀花、蔡美萍、周金花、蔡瑞华、佘秋金、陈思碑、郭文志、黄秀梅、黄宗元、王建达、王怀克、王如花、王丽美、冯静杰、张灵燕、刘文明、林秋香、黄焕明、李玉贤、李雅传、陈秀贤、卓瑞祥、李明玄、William Ong、翁绍命、张阿福、陈翠红、林俊辉、萧青云。May they be blessed by the Buddha, be free of obstacles and sickness, and if they are sick, recover quickly from their sickness. And now, dedication to the deceased. 马楚轩、王雅梅、萧玉良、陈雅福、陈天松、郑希帆、陈完珍、郑俊如、邱耀丽、陈素薇、陈海成、王琼花、潘蝶志、王怀居、郭雪清、王连成、罗玉蔡、梁世仁、刘才发、陈金燕、黄如、吴雅喜、李清之、高银桃、丹奢焕、翁春宝、萧福兴、蔡元成、黄雅谷、沈福阳、沈才坤、梁火焰、蔡轩。May they be reborn in the Pure Land and attain enlightenment, or be reborn in the happy realms, meet excellent teachers, learn the Buddha's teachings, life after life until they reach Buddhahood. Okay, so now let us recite the dedication verse together. May these profound merits and virtues be dedicated to all sentient beings. May we eliminate all karmic obstacles, and may all attain enlightenment. Okay, you can also spend a few moments to do your own dedication and send your best wishes to the people around you. Okay, so now we will do 3 prostrations to the Buddha. Please rise. Three prostrations to the Buddha. One bow. That's the end of the prayers for tonight. But do stay with us as we will be back at 9 p.m. for Ven Talk. Tonight, I'll be sharing with you the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that we usually see in the monastery. Okay, so do join us again at 9 p.m. See you later.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Van Talk for today. So I'm Joshua once again, and today our topic is who in Buddhism. So I think for my own sharing is that from the start of me getting to know Buddhism until now, right, there are a lot of figures in the monasteries, or we will hear the names of certain bodhisattvas that actually we don't know who is who. So I think today is a good time for us to maybe revise a bit or learn something new about the figures that we are praying to. So we are very happy today to have Venerable Pen Si to share with us more about what we have. And on behalf of everyone watching, hello, Fa Si.
Hi. How's everyone?
I'm good.
I'm very happy to be able to share with you all some of the more common Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that we see in Buddhism. Yeah, so today how I will do is I'm going to bring everyone on a tour of our main shrine in here at BW Monastery. Okay, so now the monastery is closed because of the COVID-19. Yeah, so I think it's also a good time for those of y'all who have not visited our monastery before. Yeah, this will be a virtual tour for you. And then of course for our regular devotees who come to the monastery often, we are still open, limited hours on weekdays from 10:30 to 4 o'clock. Okay, but if you can't make it, then I think today will also be a very good refresher. Yeah. Okay, so to begin, let us look at the three main Buddha statues in our main shrine hall. Okay, so you can see here that this is our three big statue occupying the central shrine in the main shrine hall. So in the center is Shakyamuni Buddha, sitting on his right, which is on our left, is Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, or more commonly known as Guan Si Yin Pusa. And then sitting on the Buddha's left, which is on our right, is Manjushri Bodhisattva. Yeah, so let me introduce them first, and then after that, if Joshua, if you have any question, do feel free to ask me. Do feel free to interrupt me and ask.
We have a lot of questions.
Okay, so the main Buddha in our main shrine hall is, of course, Shakyamuni Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha is the Buddha who took birth in India 2,500 years ago. And he's also known as Gautama Buddha or Gautama Buddha in Theravada Buddhism. So all the Buddha's teachings that we know today all originated from him. Without Shakyamuni Buddha, there wouldn't be any Buddha's teachings that we can learn, and there would not be Buddhism today. Yeah, so we have to be very grateful to Shakyamuni Buddha, because all that we know about Buddha's teachings all comes from him. And all the solutions to our life problems is in the Buddha's teachings, which means that the Buddha, because of him, then there's really hope for all of us to solve all our problems in life. Okay, and then one way to identify Shakyamuni Buddha, okay, because to beginners, sometimes Buddhas all look the same. So I'm also going to show you how to identify each of the different Buddhas and Bodhisattvas from the Dharma instruments that they are holding. Okay, so for Shakyamuni Buddha, he is usually depicted holding an alms bowl. Okay, but in our main shrine hall, the Buddha doesn't hold anything. Okay, so if you see a Buddha that doesn't hold anything or is holding an alms bowl, then that's Shakyamuni Buddha. Then sitting on the Buddha's right is Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, or more well known as Guan Yin, Guan Si Yin Pusa. It comes from the Chinese word, his Chinese name, Guan Si Yin Pusa. And Guan Yin represents the perfect compassion of the Buddha. The Buddha has his good qualities can be summarized into two main good qualities: perfect compassion and perfect wisdom. Okay, so Guan Si Yin Pusa represents his perfect compassion. And indeed, whenever we have any problems, whenever we have any danger, we can always supplicate to Guanxin Pusa. And Guanxin Pusa appears very widely in Buddhism. Okay, so he's widely worshipped in not only Buddhism but also in Taoism. And not only the Chinese Buddhists worship him, but also Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, and of course the Tibetans. Okay, Tibetans regard Guanxin Pusa as the guardian Bodhisattva of Tibet. And even in the Theravada tradition, they also worship Guanxin Pusa. So it really shows his great compassion. He will help anyone. Yeah. So how do we identify Guanxin Pusa? Normally, she's depicted as holding a vase in her hand. Okay, and some statue also have the other hand holding a willow branch. And then the other way to identify Guanxin Pusa is that on the crown of her head, there is a picture of Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is her teacher. Yeah, so because she regards her teacher so highly, she always have the teacher's picture at the crown of her head, showing the highest respect. Yeah. So at this point, do you have any questions, Joshua?
Yes, Pastor.
Yes.
So over here, right, we will, I think in Singapore, we will see statues of Guanxin Pusa, and some of them are actually of a female form, and some of them of a male form, and both we will regard as Guanxin Pusa. So my question is actually, so is Guanxin Pusa male or female?
Actually, in Chinese Buddhism, if you go to a Chinese temple or the Taoist temple, Guanxin Pusa is always depicted in female form. Yeah, because in China's history, there are many stories of Guanxin Pusa appearing as a female to help people who are having problems. But in Tibet, Guanxin Pusa is usually depicted as a male form. Okay, so for example, for those of y'all who have been learning here, y'all would know Master Atisha, who brought the Nalanda tradition Buddhism to Tibet. His disciple, his chief disciple, Dromdonpa, is the Tibetans regard him as the manifestation of Guanxin Pusa. And of course, he's the one who propagated Master Atisha's teachings in Tibet, and later known as the Kadam school. Yeah, and then also the Dalai Lama, yeah, the Tibetans also regard him as the Guanxin Pusa, a manifestation of Guanxin Pusa. So, in short, the answer to your question is Guanxin Pusa will take on any form, whether is it male or female, in order to best help the sentient beings. Okay, so apparently in the Chinese, in China, the female form, okay, the female form represents compassion better, or I should say, compassion is represented by the female form better. So that's why Guanxin Pusa will take on a female form. Yeah, because we usually regard as, at least for Chinese, right, we usually regard the mother as the compassionate figure. Yeah, so he will appear as a female form. Then in Tibet, because the Tibetans regard Guanxin Pusa as their protector, so protector needs to be strong and powerful. So he will take on the male form. So the answer to your question is he will take on, whether is it male or female really depends on us. If we need him to appear in the male form, he will appear in the male form. If we need her to appear in a female form, she will appear in a female form. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so this is Guanxin Pusa. Okay, and then sitting on the Buddha's left is Manjushri Bodhisattva, and he represents the perfect wisdom of the Buddha. Yeah, and in many of the Buddhist scriptures, he is mentioned as being the teacher of past and present Buddhas and even future Buddhas. So for example, in the Lotus Sutra, there's a story of, there's a chapter where Matriarch Buddha has a question after he saw Shakyamuni Buddha display a very magnificent sign, and he wanted to know what that sign means. So he went to ask Manjushri Bodhisattva, and then it turns out that Manjushri Bodhisattva, even long time ago, has been teaching Matriarch Bodhisattva, which is our future Buddha. So how do we identify Manjushri Bodhisattva? He holds, in the Chinese tradition, he will usually hold a Lu Yi in his hand. Yeah. And then sometimes he's also depicted as sitting on a lion. So if you go to a Chinese temple, you see a Bodhisattva holding a Lu Yi. It's like a hook like that. Yeah, Chinese, we call it a Lu Yi Go. You can see on the picture, in this picture, he's holding it in his left hand. Yeah, or you see a Bodhisattva sitting on a lion, then you know that is Manjushri Bodhisattva. Then in Tibetan tradition, he holds a sword of wisdom. Sometimes in the Chinese statue, he is also holding a sword in his right hand. Yeah, so Joshua, any questions on?
Yes. So sometimes I go to other monasteries or online, we see the shrine halls of some monasteries, right? We see Shakyamuni Buddha in the middle, and we either see two other Buddhas that look very similar, or I think it's Manjushri Bodhisattva, like what you said just now, sitting on a lion, and we have another Bodhisattva at the other side sitting on an elephant. So I just want to know, like, what's the difference, or who are they?
Oh yes, yeah. Let me just show you two other very common arrangements that is in a Chinese temple. Okay, so if you go to a Chinese temple, a lot of time you'll see the main shrine hall, the three big statues look very similar. Yes, and the three of them are Buddhas, not one Buddha and two Bodhisattvas. So over here in this slide, you can see the picture here. Okay, this picture here. Yeah, so again, the center is always Shakyamuni Buddha because he's our teacher of this world who teaches us the Buddha's, the Dharma, the Buddha's teachings. And then if it's such an arrangement, then on Shakyamuni's Buddha's right is Amitabha Buddha. And then on his left is the medicine Buddha. So these two Buddhas are also in our shrine hall, actually also in the same arrangement, except that they occupy the center of the right shrine and left shrine respectively, which I will introduce also later. Yeah, and also how to identify them. Okay, and then the other arrangement that you usually see in a Chinese temple is this. Okay, so it's Shakyamuni Buddha at the center, and then on his right, you see a Bodhisattva sitting on an elephant. That is Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, Pu Xian Pusa, known for his great practices. Okay, his great practices. And then on the Buddha's left, you see the Bodhisattva sitting on I mentioned just now, right? Lion. So which Bodhisattva is that?
Manjushri Bodhisattva.
Yes, Manjushri Bodhisattva, who represent great wisdom. Yeah, so usually these are the other two arrangements that you will see in other Chinese temple. Of course, there are also different variations. Yeah, but these two are the most common. So why is it that in BW Monastery we have Guanxin Pusa and Manjushri Bodhisattva? It's because, as I mentioned just now, they represent the two main good qualities of the Buddha: perfect compassion and perfect wisdom. And if we want to achieve Buddhahood, these are also the two main good qualities that we need to accumulate, that we need to develop. Once we have developed perfect compassion and perfect wisdom, we will also become a Buddha.
So Fazi, actually we have right at this point of time, right, we learn about three Bodhisattvas already, but actually until now I'm still not quite sure of the meaning of Bodhisattva, or like is it the same as Pusa? Then what's the meaning of these two words?
Yes, you're right. Bodhisattva actually in Chinese is known as Pusa. The long form is actually Putisattuo. it translated from Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva, then short form to Pusa. So normally in Chinese, when we see someone who is very kind-hearted, right, we will call him Pusa, Pusa. But actually, there's a very strict definition in Buddhism of who is a Bodhisattva. Okay, so Bodhisattvas are actually people who are practicing to achieve Buddhahood, on their way to become a Buddha. So he's a person who has an uncontrived, a spontaneous wish. It's already built. It's already his second nature. Okay, an uncontrived wish to help all living beings relieve their suffering. And they aspire to become a Buddha in order to do that. Okay, because in order to help people effectively, we need both wisdom as well as compassion. Okay, so someone who wants to achieve Buddhahood because they want to help all living beings, and then, so if he has this ambition, this aspiration, and then after that he set achieving Buddhahood as his or her goal of spiritual practice, and then when he practice all the practices that will enable him to achieve Buddhahood, then this person is then called a Bodhisattva. But of course, Bodhisattvas have many different levels, from a beginner all the way until to very advanced Bodhisattvas. So actually, just now we saw Manjushri Bodhisattva, Guanyin Pusa, they are all very advanced Bodhisattvas. They have almost reached their goals of Buddhahood. And in fact, like Guanyin Pusa, he is actually a past Buddha. Okay, he has actually achieved Buddhahood, but then he took on the form of a Bodhisattva in order to help all of us better. Yeah, so in short, that is the difference between a Bodhisattva and a Buddha. A Bodhisattva is someone training to become a Buddha. Okay, so now let me introduce the left side of our main shrine hall, or I should say the right side. If we are facing the Buddhas, then it's the right side of the main shrine hall. So for those of you who have come to BW Monastery before, you will notice that on the right side of the main shrine hall, we have sitting in the center, there's Medicine Buddha. Okay, so if you remember the common arrangement of the three big Buddhas in other Chinese monastery, right? On the Buddha's left is the Medicine Buddha. So similarly here on the right side of our shrine hall, which is actually on the Buddha's, Shakyamuni's Buddha's left shrine, is Medicine Buddha. And then also we have two other statues of Guanyin. And then also we have Matriarch Buddha, the future Buddha. We have Kistigaba Bodhisattva. And then on the extreme left there, or on the extreme right there, there's the Skanda Bodhisattva. Okay, so let me introduce them. Okay, so the Medicine Buddha, again, he's a very popular Buddha in Chinese Buddhism. His full name is called Medicine Master and King of Lapis Lazuli Light Buddha, Yao Si Liu Li Guang Ru Lai. So he's well known for his healing powers. Yeah, so later I will talk about that. How do we identify him? You identify him by the pagoda that he holds in his hand. Okay, so next time when you go to the Chinese monastery and then you see three big Buddhas there, you see the one holding the pagoda, that is Medicine Buddha. Okay, yeah. So he's the Buddha of the Eastern Pure Land. So his Pure Land is in the east of this world. Yeah, and the name is called Pure Lapis Lazuli. So the Medicine Buddha, he made 12 vows to help living beings who have sickness, obstacles, and problems with material possessions and spiritual practice. Yeah, so nowadays it's very common if we have sickness or we are threatened with, we have life-threatening diseases, sickness, then we will pray to Medicine Buddha to relieve our sickness, to help us recover, and also for long life. Yeah, but actually, why does the Medicine Buddha wants to help us with our daily problems? Okay, even with problems such as material possessions. So one of his vows is that if we don't have enough material possessions, maybe we don't have enough money, instead of doing non-virtuous actions to try to find money, we can pray to Mason Buddha. Yeah, then our life will be smoother. We will be able to find some financial resources without resorting to non-virtuous actions such as cheating. Yeah, but the purpose why the Mason Buddha wants to help us is really to prevent us from doing non-virtuous actions so that we can focus better on our spiritual practice. Yeah, so again, over here we see the compassion and skillful means of the Buddhas. So this is Mason Buddha. And then we also have Matriarch Buddha. Yeah, so we sometimes also refer to him as Matriarch Bodhisattva. Okay, because he will be the next Buddha that will appear on earth after Shakyamuni's Buddha's teachings disappear. Yeah, and so now he's residing in Tushta heaven. So when the Shakyamuni's Buddha's teachings disappear from earth, and then when the conditions are right again, he will then like Shakyamuni Buddha, take birth on earth and then teach the Buddha's teachings again. Yeah, so in Tushta heaven, because he's waiting to come down to earth, so usually he's depicted as sitting on the throne. Okay, anytime ready to stand up and come down to earth, ready to come down to earth when the conditions are right. So he's one of the fewer Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who don't sit in the lotus position. Yeah.
First,
Yes.
when the first time I see Matriarch Buddha or Matriarch Bodhisattva in this form, I was a bit not used to it because usually we will see Matriarch Buddha as a form of a monk in robes and we will call him the happy or the loving Buddha. Yeah. So, what actually are they the same person or what's their difference?
Okay. So as I said just now, I think you're referring to this one, right? Yeah, the laughing Buddha. So this one in Chinese Buddhism, again, he's very popular. And then he's depicted as being very happy. Yeah, and he has a very big belly that symbolizes his great capacity. Okay, his capacity to take on the insult and the suffering that of all sentient beings. Okay, and then the insult that his patience, his patience and his capacity to help sentient beings. Okay, so this depiction is actually, this image is actually that of a monk that lived in China during the Song dynasty. Okay, and in Chinese we call him 布袋和尚. Okay, so he's a very jolly, very happy monk, very friendly, very compassionate. Actually, the name Matriarch means it comes from the word metta, okay, which means loving kindness. Okay, so actually, Matriarch Bodhisattva or Ajita Bodhisattva means the Bodhisattva of loving kindness. Yeah, so this 布袋和尚, again, he also display this kind of characteristic, very kind, very happy. And then some statue of laughing Buddha also have a lot of children climbing on him. Yeah, so that actually again shows his compassionate nature. Yeah, so, and before he passed away, he actually wrote a verse that indicate that he's actually Matriarch Bodhisattva. So the Chinese also use his image, okay, as that of Matriarch Bodhisattva. Yeah, but the one that you see in our shrine hall, that's the one of him sit in Tushta heaven, waiting to descend to earth again when Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings has disappeared. Okay, then the next Bodhisattva that's on the right side of our main shrine hall is Kistigaba Bodhisattva, or in Chinese is Di Zhang Pusa or Di Zhang Wang Pusa. So we can also call him Earth Store Bodhisattva. And he's known for his great vows. One of his vows is that he vows to free all beings from hell before he attains Buddhahood. So how do you identify him? He's usually depicted as a monk. So over here you see, He's wearing the monk's robes. He has shaved his hair. Yeah, and then he holds a staff. So this staff is again one of the possession of a monk. Okay, yeah. And then in his right hand he holds a staff, and then on his left hand he holds a wish-fulfilling jewel.
First, like when you said he's a monk, right? And actually, I've heard, and I think I was once a victim to this before that. We will confuse 地藏菩萨 with 唐三藏大师. Yeah, so are they actually the same person or not?
No, they are actually different. I think why there's a confusion there. Number one is because sometimes 地藏王菩萨 Amitabha Bodhisattva also is depicted in this form, wearing this is what we call the Vairochana head. Okay, so it's a head that has the Buddhas of the 5 directions on it. Yeah, so, and then of course in the Journey to the West, 西游记, in those movies and drama serial, they always depict Tang Sanzang as also in a very similar form, wearing this Vairochana head and holding a staff. So I think there's a confusion there, but they are actually 2 different characters. Okay, so Amitabha Bodhisattva is a bodhisattva, and he's actually in China. His dwelling place is well known as the Jiuhuashan. Yeah, so he's a bodhisattva. Whereas for Tang Sanzang, he's actually a very great master who brought very, very important teachings to China. So he made a pilgrimage to India, and in India he studied in Nalanda University. He's a very brilliant scholar there. When he was there, no one can defeat him in debate. Yeah, and then he brought back the perfection of wisdom sutras, which is very, very important for us if we want to achieve Buddhahood or to get out to liberate ourselves from cyclic existence. So that is Tang Sanzang, whereas this one is Amitabha Bodhisattva. Yeah, they are 2 different persons. Okay, and then, yeah. You have any more questions before we move on to the left side of the main shrine hall?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Is that normally we see, for example, Guanxin Pusa or Manjushri Bodhisattva, they will be in the form of maybe I think a lay person where they have hair, but a lot of times on actually Matriarch Buddha also we have like what Fasi you said, the Buddha和尚, and he have both forms, but a lot of times you will see Amitabha Bodhisattva in a form of a monk. And is there any reasons behind it?
Yes, actually, usually in Buddhism, we will depict the bodhisattvas in not as a monk, okay, but as in royalty. They will wear very lavish, very, very nice clothing. Okay, so the reason why it's depicted this way is because bodhisattvas, they accumulate a lot of merits in their practices in order to be able to help living beings. So for example, if we are poor, okay, we go to the bodhisattva, and the bodhisattva wants to help us. Of course, he needs to have money in order to help us, right? Yeah, so yeah, and then of course the bodhisattva, one of the practices of the bodhisattva is generosity. The bodhisattva will give away everything, and then the karmic result of that is actually you will gain enormous wealth. So bodhisattvas usually are depicted wearing very nice dressing, okay, also to symbolize their merits. Yeah, but for Amitabha Bodhisattva, because the reason why he's depicted in wearing a monk's robe is he actually started in the Tang dynasty. After the Tang dynasty, then this form of image is popular. Yeah, and it's because just now I mentioned Jiuhuashan, right? There was a prince from Korea who became a monk in Jiuhuashan. And then, when he was there, there were a lot of very miraculous stories about him helping people. Yeah, So yeah, later on, people recognize that he's actually a manifestation of Amitabha Bodhisattva. So that's why nowadays, after Tang Dynasty, more and more of Amitabha Bodhisattva image is depicted as a monk. Yeah. Okay, so our time is almost up. I will quickly introduce the left side of our shrine. So as you can see there's Amitabha Buddha in the center. Okay, and then on his right is Maha Stammaprata Bodhisattva, and on his left is Guan Yin. Okay, and then we also have a lot of other statue of Guan Yin Pusa there on our left, in our left shrine. Okay, so let me do a quick introduction of them. Okay, so these three Amitabha Buddha in the center, with his two Chi Bodhisattva, these are also called the three sages of Western Pure Land. Yeah, so Amitabha is the Buddha of the Western Pure Land, Sukhavati. In Chinese, is more commonly known as 极乐世界. So how do we identify Amitabha Buddha? He will hold a lotus flower in his left hand, and then he will have his right palm facing out, okay, to symbolize receiving us, okay, leading us to his pure land. Okay, then standing on both sides are his two Chi Bodhisattva. Standing on his left is Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. So I mentioned just now, because there's the Amitabha Buddha is his teacher. Yeah, and then usually again, I've also mentioned this before. Guan Yin holds a vase and a willow branch. And then on Amitabha Buddha's right, there is Maha Stammaprata Bodhisattva, also known as Vajrapani Bodhisattva. He stands on the right and then he holds a lotus branch. Okay, and then we also have the different forms of Guan Yin Pusa, including the one with the 1,000 hands and eyes. And then we also have one that is holding a baby boy, and then one riding on a dragon. Any questions?
Also, actually, I think as we walk, as we are having this tour, right, we see a lot of forms of Guan Yin Pusa. For example, the two other four, the one in the big statue, we have the 1,000 eyes, the gift of the baby, and the dragon riding Guan Yin Pusa. So, actually, I have heard that some people say that actually all these Guan Yin Pusa, right, they are different spiritual ranks that we can attain. Then I've also heard saying that actually they are the same person. So actually, which one is it? Are they all the same person with different manifestation, or?
Yes, you're right. They are actually all Guan Yin Pusa, but they will take on different forms to best help different sentient beings with different needs. Yeah, so for example, this one that you see here, the one holding a baby boy. Yeah, so because in the Lotus Sutra, it said that if any woman who wants to have a baby boy, she can pray to Guan Yin Pusa for a baby boy. And then Guan Yin Pusa will give her a baby boy that is virtuous, filial, good-looking, intelligent. Yeah, so in order to help women who to identify with this aspect of compassion of Guan Yin Pusa, so we will depict Guan Yin Pusa holding a baby boy. Yeah, so any women who wants to pray to Guan Yin Pusa for a baby boy can come in front of this statue, and then it's much easier, right, compared to just someone holding a willow branch or a vase. Yeah, so similarly, there is also Guan Yin Pusa riding on a dragon, and then the one that you see here in the picture, the one with 1,000 hands and eyes, that represents her great compassion. Okay, so with 1,000 hands, she can help everyone, and then with 1,000 eyes, she can see everyone. So anyone in need of help, as long as we call out to Guan Yin Pusa, she will definitely come and help us. Okay, so we are actually over time by 5 minutes. I will quickly just introduce the two Dharma Protectors, and then we will end. Okay, so the Dharma Protectors that you will always see in a Chinese Buddhist temple will be these two. on the right side of the shrine, that will be Skanda Bodhisattva, representing the Dharma Protectors from the heavens. And then on the left side is Sangarama Bodhisattva, representing the earthly spirits. Okay, so yeah, so we also have earthly spirits as well as the heavenly beings guarding the temple. Okay, so that's why there's these two Dharma Protectors. Okay, I think we have run out of time. I'm sure you still have other questions, but because we have run out of time, so I think we will end here today. I hope this session has been beneficial to you.
Yes, I learned a lot from today. So I think many people have the chance, but on behalf of everyone that's watching, right, thank you, Fasil, for giving us so much information and sharing so much with us about all these figures.
Okay, thank you very much. I enjoyed this session a lot too. Yeah, so let us end off by doing dedication. Okay, so let's put our palms together. Okay, we will recite the 4 lines dedication. May these profound merits and virtues be dedicated to all sentient beings. May we eliminate all karmic obstacles, and together may we attain the state of Buddhahood. Okay, thank you very much, Joshua. Good night. Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
Fasil. Good night. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.